Want to go kill somebody?
I don't know what to do. What?
Just call Grandma and Grandpa and tell them they need to call.
Marred by a history of mental health struggles and attempts at taking her own life, a young teenage girl's family fears the worst when she goes missing in Pinckneyville, Illinois. But in a textbook example of reality being stranger than fiction, the Stevens family couldn't have dreamed of a worse scenario than the one that was about to unfold, even under those circumstances. 15-year-old Sydney Stevens was a bright girl who enjoyed fishing, four-wheeling, and hanging out with her friends and older sister, 18-year-old Dakota Wall. From the outside looking in, it appeared that Sydney was living a rather normal life. But underneath the surface, things were anything but ordinary. Tracy Stevens and her daughter Sydney had a great relationship, for a long time at least. However, in recent months, they'd been fighting. Not only that, but Sydney and Dakota had been engaging in fights of their own. Tracy's husband, Tim Wall, told police that Sydney and Dakota used to be very close, but had recently grown apart. In addition, Tracy's divorce from Tim was not something that Sydney took well. It left another void in her failing support system, especially when she found out that Tim was not her biological father. With the heaviness of everything weighing down on her, Sydney began to engage in behavior that was previously very out of character. There were times she'd run away. Even worse were a series of attempts she'd made to end her own life. When she went missing on July 19, 2010, Tracy filed a missing persons report, just as she had the previous month, an occasion where Sydney had chosen to disappear. While it seemed certain Sydney had run off yet again, hours turned to days, and Sydney still hadn't returned. Then a horrifying development came on July 25th. For a place that proclaims itself the friendly little city, it was anything but that on the fateful day. Two fishermen found the lifeless body of Sydney face down in the local Buku Creek. Detectives were stumped as there was little information to go on initially. But as the investigation immediately got underway, details quickly emerged. Law enforcement would eventually unravel a tangled web of lies and uncover a shocking revelation that could only be described as the ultimate betrayal. Let's begin now with an acquaintance of Sydney and our first person of interest, 18-year-old Carl Dane, who authorities have called into question just 3 days after Sydney's body was recovered.
I guess you know what we want to talk to you about the situation with Sydney.
Yeah.
What do you know about it, Carl?
About it or her?
Sydney, how about you see these nuts, bitch? Woo! I wanna love you, motherfucker. See, that's how I would press him. That's what I would say. See these nuts, bitch?
That whole situation or just in general her?
We want to know what you know about what happened to Sydney.
I don't know anything.
Do you remember where you were on Sunday night, what was that? 18th?
I was sitting at home.
It's a pretty quick answer. How do you know where you were that long ago?
I just remembered, I remember what I'm doing, every once in a while.
Most people who are being honest have a reasonable memory. When suspects have a memory of extremes, detectives will see that as a red flag for deception. For example, if a suspect remembers what they were doing on an ordinary day 2 months ago, that is unusual. Going for the other extreme, if a suspect can't remember what they did yesterday, that's also unusual. Sydney's older sister, Dakota, is brought in almost 2 weeks after Carl's interview to talk about the tragic event. While getting settled, the detective, Janice Barber, informs Dakota that she's from Chester, Illinois, and relays that it isn't unusual for her to help out with major cases from other towns.
Can you tell me about your and Sydney's relationship? Well, we got along great till puberty. Then it was the don't touch my stuff, I hate you, fall off the face of the earth kind of thing.
Typical teenage sister.
Yeah.
Things.
But, we got along great unless I was on my period or she was on her period. Then we absolutely did not want to be around each other.
Sure.
But other than that, we got along great unless she was trying to take my stuff and we were fighting about chores or something.
So let's talk about Sydney.
Let's talk about how you killed her on your period. Ooh. When was your last period? Around the time that she died? You killed her.
And
You killed her.
her disappearance. Her disappearance is what everybody originally thought it was. Where were you when you were notified of her disappearance?
I was at my boyfriend's house.
And who's your boyfriend?
Chad Bennett.
Okay. Last time you saw Sydney?
The
His
Sunday
name is
before, the
fucking
day
Chad.
before.
The day
The
before?
day that she went missing, I'd seen her because I came back from camping.
Okay, and what time was that?
I got home at like between 11 and 11:30 in the morning.
And then how long were you and Sydney both there at the house?
Yeah.
How long?
I got there about 11:30 and I came back at about between 3 and 3:30 and left about 3:30, so.
Dakota had apparently gone camping on Saturday, July 17th, 2 days before Sydney's disappearance. She promptly returned home the next day on the 18th. Along with Dakota, her 20-year-old boyfriend, Chad Bennett, had spent a couple of hours at the girl's home before the pair departed for Chad's house later that afternoon. According to Dakota, this was the last time she saw her sister. Shortly thereafter, something unexpectedly sinister was carried out, and things would never be the same. 2 days after Dakota's interview, we meet Chad, who may possess salient details regarding Sydney's tragic final moments.
Bro,
The detective begins by shaking Chad's hand, a gesture of respect, likely aimed at building a positive rapport. Chad sits slumped over with his legs spread apart, coming across as unaffected by the circumstances. Then again, this may be a comfortable position. Nonetheless, the detectives have most likely taken note of this nonchalant behavior, and they proceed to question Chad about his whereabouts on Saturday, July 17th.
Soy el de Ávila.
Soy la hermana Palma Reyes. Soy la hermana Ábalos Latín y somos los misioneros.
Venimos de todas las partes del mundo.
I was talking shit to the missionaries, bro. They came in here. I started talking shit to me. That's what I would say if I were Chad.
And what did you do that night?
Bunch of retards.
Okay. You go out with your friends or anything?
Bunch of retards. They let the people die,
Maybe
bro.
on
That
the
people
Friday or
need
Saturday.
2 centimeters of
call
blood.
it
That
out.
person's dying. What a bunch
Okay.
of retards.
You don't know which one it was? And, so when was it the next time you saw Dakota?
The day after.
So Sunday?
Yeah.
And when was it on Sunday you saw Dakota?
I think it was Sunday, yeah.
Right, but what time?
I couldn't tell you.
Morning or afternoon?
I wasn't morning, so you could sleep.
Oh, you usually sleep in?
Yeah. So it'd be like probably in the afternoon, probably after like 1.
So how long do you think you stayed there?
A couple hours.
A couple hours? Where did you stay at in the house?
Cody's room.
Chad tells the detective that following his short stay at Dakota's house, the pair decided to head to Carbondale, Illinois, where they picked up their friends Carl and 17-year-old James Glazier along the way.
No, bro, they killed
They
them.
apparently stopped at Buffalo Wild Wings for dinner, but left around
Yeah, and her blood was the sauce.
8 o'clock before dropping Carl and James off at another friend's house, 15-year-old Robbie Mueller, who we'll also hear from soon enough. Following this, Chad drove Dakota back to his house, where she spent the night. Since her phone was supposedly turned off, Chad had awoken to a panicked call from Tracy the next day, on July 19th. Tracy asked that he inform Dakota that Sydney had once again gone missing. But Dakota wasn't too worried, as this seemed to be a regular occurrence.
Yeah.
However, when she returned home from Chad's shortly thereafter, it was clear that something was horribly wrong. We pick up where Dakota is detailing what happened on that unexpectedly harrowing day.
So then you're at home about noon.
Yeah.
Then what proceeds from there?
When I got home, when I got home, my mom asked me if it was me in the house. I was like, yeah. She's like, have you heard anything from Sydney or heard anyone that knew where Sydney is? I was like, no. She's like, well, she's like, I was told, show, which is one of her friends, that Corbin had seen her up at that lunch.
So she supposedly stayed with Chad, right? Or maybe I'm wrong.
Thing, the free lunch to do with one of the churches here.
I'm getting the days confused.
They had seen her up there, and she's like, and I went up there, and one of the ladies that was working there, they'd seen her walking uptown at about 7 o'clock in the morning by the high school with a lady that looked like she was about her late 20s, early 30s. She's like, do you know anyone that Sydney would know that's that age? I was like, no. I was like, I don't know. Name's that with besides Carly.
I mean, she's a lesbian.
And she was like, okay. And she's like, do you know? She's like, has anyone been on her MySpace or anything? I was like, no.
So you would go and check on MySpace?
Yeah, we were checking on MySpace every day to see if she'd gotten on.
Okay.
Because the last time she ran away, she kept getting on MySpace and making contact.
Okay.
And after a few days of her not making contact, that's when we thought there was something weird about this, something not right.
When did you think something was weird and not right?
Probably about Wednesday.
Unfortunately, this gut instinct will prove to be terribly correct, though her family could not have foreseen the unimaginable circumstances of Sydney's last moments.
Because me and my mom, Monday, a little bit after I came back, we went in her room to look to see if she took anything or if there was anything out of place. And we noticed this thing was knocked over, that plastic dresser, that there was papers scattered all over the floor, that her money was still there, and all the shoes were still there. And she's like, well, this is a little weird. She's like, but, maybe she just had the intentions of coming back. Tuesday, I do believe, was the day that we had noticed the drag marks. Because that's whenever we called the police station and they had Murray come down here, and Murray's like, well, it's just a chair. We didn't drag across the rocks. But I was just like, well, that really doesn't explain drag marks in her bedroom.
Was there a chair that had been moved?
The chair, yeah. There's a green chair that I have to stand on and hang laundry up on the hooks outside. And usually it's on the deck, but it was in the colored rocks.
And why was it there?
I don't know.
Okay.
Because my mom had showed it to me. She was like, come here. I was like, what? She's like, look at this chair. I was like, what about it? She's like, it looked like someone was trying to climb out of the house. I was like, so do you think that she snuck out? She's like, yeah. She's like, I think, so going downstairs, she came up here and went off the deck.
Okay.
The disorderly state in which Sydney's room was left could indicate that something far worse may have happened than the teen simply having run away. Dakota follows up by telling the detective that Chad had come over to the house on that same Tuesday, July 20th. The pair supposedly watched a movie before Chad left around noon for work.
Meet Sisha. I unlocked her recently in this wild online action RPG, Hero Wars. Sisha is one of 50 truly unique heroes in the game. And
Sisha can suck my
Did you guys ever talk
Sisha.
about Sydney?
How about that?
He had asked if we had found anything out, and I was like, no. I was like, we haven't found her or anything. He was like, are you looking for her? I was like, yeah. I was like, we're trying to see if anyone's seen her or not. I was like, but we haven't, seen her. And he was like, oh.
When did you go
He's like, well, I hope you guys find her. He's like, because your mom's already taking this hard. I was like, yeah. I was like, just a little bit.
Was he nervous?
Mm-mm.
How long have you and Chad been going out?
A year and a half.
Year and a half. I mean, you in love?
Yeah.
Yeah.
The detective asks Dakota if she's ever gone through Chad's phone, to which she replies that she has only done so as a result of others speculating that he may have been cheating.
What would happen if he was messing around on you?
I'd be very, very, very upset.
Very upset. Yeah.
Now that the detective has glimpsed a preview of Dakota and Chad's romance, she switches gears in an attempt to learn more about another union, one with a seemingly violent dynamic.
So let's talk about Chad. There's Chad and Carl. Well, there's Carl and Robbie. And what's the other boy's name?
James?
James. Chad's pretty good friends with these three boys?
I know he's good friends with Carl, but James, he just met. Apparently I've known James since I was little, but I don't remember it. Ever known James. Whenever my dad moved back here, James was always over at his house, and that's how Chad met him. So it had over years he met James. And then Turtle just moved here, and he met Turtle a couple months ago.
Okay. So what's the deal with this? Explain this gang to me that they're all in.
I have no clue. I find it stupid, and I told him that it's stupid because if you're not living in a town of 5,000 people where the majority of the people are prisoners, you don't have a gang.
But they classify themselves as a gang.
I'm not quite sure. I think something happened with the cops, and the cops started calling it a gang. Someone told the cops they were spray painting and getting illegal weapons and illegal drugs.
In the small rural community of Pinckneyville, a so-called gang had allegedly emerged, known as the P-Town Saints. consisting of a few local members, including 17-year-old James Glazier, 18-year-old Carl Dane, 20-year-old Chad Bennett, and 15-year-old Robbie Mueller, also known as Turtle. Numerous other young men were reportedly involved in the group, but the four named in particular will remain our focus. We will now meet the youngest member.
Could you state your full name?
Robbie Dawson Mueller.
Robbie's formal attire demonstrates a level of respect many might quantify as unusual for an interrogation. If a businessman was brought in for questioning, detectives would expect to see him dressed up in this manner. However, for a teenager, this outfit choice is quite abnormal. The detectives have been asking him questions relating to his involvement with the so-called gang, where he gives alarming detail on his brutal recruitment into the infamous P-Town Saints.
Your initiation is what?
3 people and to beat the out of you for 30 to 60 seconds, depending on when they want to stop.
Who beat you in?
Chad, James, and Carl.
Okay, and was there anybody else present?
Believe Dakota might have been present.
Did they give you a set of rules that you had to follow?
I remember getting a paper or whatever that you were supposed to memorize. Oh, I can't remember it.
Well, that's okay. I'm just saying, did you get a set of rules?
Yeah, you're not supposed to talk about stuff with the phone. Not supposed to associate with Sydney, which I would. You couldn't talk to certain people.
And one of them was Sydney?
Yeah.
These types of initiations are often an indication of antisocial behavior. The fact that this group can stomach the beating of someone in such a way isn't just horribly cruel, but also shows that these individuals likely derive pleasure from inflicting pain and suffering on another person. Additionally, the comment Robbie made about Sydney shows that they likely had a grudge against her. Or maybe it was just Dakota that had an issue with her sister and didn't want her boyfriend and his friends associating with her. These indications of Chad being considered the dictator or commander demonstrate that Chad may possess characteristics such as grandiosity and narcissism. It's very common among people with antisocial personality disorder to have strong narcissistic traits, as they will often exploit others without hesitation or remorse to ensure that their needs are met, no matter the cost. Additionally, Robbie alleges Chad is the dictator who ordered his henchmen to carry out all of his horrible intentions. But could he have gone so far as to plan the ultimate crime? Let's hear from the so-called commander himself.
But, I mean, the whole Saints thing, I'm on it.
Let's talk about the Saints for just a minute, okay? Because this is something we got to talk about.
I understand.
How long has there been a Saints?
Very long.
Long? How long?
A couple months, maybe.
Just a couple of months.
In recovered texts, Chad, codenamed Chuckles, had recited the official Saints pledge. For my fellow Saints, I hereby pledge my life to my brothers, and will do whatever is in my power to help them. If need be, I will die for my fellow Saints, just as they would die for me. This sort of unconditional devotion to the Wannabe gang is typical among these delinquent groups. Human beings have innate desires to belong and to be accepted, which drive us to be a part of one or more social groups.
We need to get together and protect each other, do what friends are supposed to do. And, that was wasn't even really that long ago. Ganja Kings just went away. So
originally you were Ganja Kings?
Yeah.
Apparently, before the not-so-well-known Peace Saints came to life, a group of young men had previously formed what was known as the Ganja Kings, although they were supposedly no longer active at this time.
It started out with a bunch of us, and we had a setup of how it would go.
What's the setup?
Like, so hard to explain.
Un guerrero perfeccionado por 7 generaciones, con el incontenible ataque de su ejército de 400 caballos.
There'd be us, and there'd be 3 people that were up above the rest.
And when you say us, who would be the us and the 3 people that are above the rest?
Me, Carl, and James were the three.
And so is that 1, 2, and 3?
Yeah.
You're number 1 because you're the OG.
His high started,
Right.
yeah. And then after me came Carl, and after Carl came James.
So the order would be 1, 2, and 3 then?
Yeah.
Top, bottom?
Yeah.
And now, does anybody else have a tattoo like you got there with Saints on it?
No, but that's going to be gone soon.
It's what?
It's going to be gone.
Why is that?
Because that was nothing but a big mistake.
Chad's ominous hand tattoo, showcasing a cross and skulls, is supposedly part of the gang initiation process, although it's not reported that Carl, James, or Robbie have the same one.
Imagine trying to start a
This
fucking
initiation system can be seen among various gangs across the world as a notable indication of one's allegiance to their group. But along with this, new members may be required to undergo a physical beating, such as the one described by Robbie.
Tattoos on the back.
Like you say, it did turn into a gang.
Oh, yeah.
And you were the leader of the gang. You were the OG.
Yeah, I know.
And some of your guys really got into it, didn't they?
They were all really loyal.
Right.
I mean, I hate to say it, but it's kind of like dogs, to be honest. I mean, they were
Like what?
like dogs. You could tell them to do something, they'll do it. But I never did.
But that's the point, though.
That,
Isn't it? And that's the point of a gang.
Right.
You're the leader. You have your soldiers or people below you. And if you tell them to do something, it's just like in the army. They're supposed to do it. Isn't that right?
gosh, yeah.
And Carl was really into that one.
Yeah,
And James was really into it.
Oh, yeah. Oh, God. James is probably the most loyal person we had.
People who have antisocial personality disorder with narcissistic traits have an excessive need for admiration. They'll often seek out people who will worship them to satisfy their grandiose sense of self-importance and preoccupation with power and...
He's describing every streamer out there. Not including me,
control.
bro.
Having these loyal young boys around him means that Chad was likely able to use them however he saw fit, even if it meant committing a crime or harming other people. Along with this, Chad's demeaning reference to the other members as dogs may be yet another indication of possible narcissism. People with antisocial personality disorder don't fully trust anyone in their lives. They're very cynical and often anticipate that others want to do them harm or betray them, even those closest to them.
I guess I don't know what you would call those guys. Would you
I
guys
never
trust,
get betrayed.
Carl and James to be truthful to you?
Yes.
Why?
I don't know, it's just something, I trust them, they trust them.
So what kind of what you mean by did trust him? You mean before all this happened, you would have trusted him, but now you don't?
Yeah.
Because Chad states that he doesn't trust the others as much, this may present the detectives with an additional tool of manipulation they can use against Chad later on. For example, to foster doubt surrounding his trust in Dakota and their relationship.
What? But so, since this deal with Sydney, what has changed where you're concerned that you don't trust him?
Always.
Just the fact that he'd go out and do something and then try to throw me in the middle of it just because he up.
It's not going to go away until the end. And you've had to be feeling pretty bad the last 2 or 3 weeks. You've had to have a load of stress on your shoulders with this whole situation.
Why?
And do you realize that that's not going to go away until it all comes out? And it will come out, because a lot of it already has.
Unbeknownst to Chad, the detectives are in possession of what the young man has been unable to provide, the truth. And as we come to learn, from more than one person, the unthinkable incident that took place on one fateful night is almost too graphic to tell. Before we get to that, though, let's hear from none other than the gang's second-in-command, Carl.
What's up, Supermode? Yeah. Drama. John was talking about PBJ. That shit went to war. John went to sleep. Another streamer by the name It's JD Ang reported his ass. He got banned. Yeah. Now John's banned. Watching Iwu. Got busted. Murder. Yeah, he got banned on his fucking birthday, bro.
So
He got banned for
James
talking
robbed
shit.
both at your grandpa's house.
Yeah.
And what did you tell them, or
Bro,
what did they tell you they wanted to do?
talking shit about the person that he was talking shit
They didn't really say nothing. I'm just like, hey guys, you know, wanna go do this?
And when you said do this, what did you tell them you meant?
Told them, wanna go kill
I would have
somebody?
understood if he got banned for the PBJ
And
thing,
then,
but
did you already tell them who that somebody was?
over a girl
Right
that he
after I
hasn't
got
even
off
spoken
from
to.
Chad.
And what time do you think that was?
Like I said, around 11 or 12.
It's ridiculous, bro.
Well before Sydney's disappearance, the P-Town Saints were having a usual get-together when Chad allegedly gave Carl a .22 Ruger semi-automatic pistol. What they had in store was evil beyond measure. And participants in the sick and twisted ploy were not limited to just Chad and Carl, as you'll soon see. For now, we're introduced to James, third in command of the gang, and he is audibly shaken. It seems he's making no effort to hide anything.
So James, when you saw your mother, is that when you decided you wanted to go ahead and talk to the police?
Yeah.
Okay.
I can't do this with my awful. I love you.
Bro.
Come on, we gotta do this. We need to do this.
Okay, James.
Bro.
So you want to talk to us now, right?
Yeah. Is there any, like, I do, but...
He's scared.
You either want to talk to us, or you don't want to talk to us. Okay?
Mom's a fucking dumbass.
You know what we want.
Mom's a fucking dumbass, bro. Mom's a fucking dumbass. Because her mom could have said, okay, we're going to go over that, but we're going to go over that with a lawyer. Right? And the lawyer's going to say, hey, give my guy some special treatment. He's going to come in with a confession. Right? Give my guy some special treatment. And we're good. You know what I mean?
One is 100% the truth, okay?
Well.
No matter how difficult
bro,
it is.
It's very sad, bro.
I've already tried to protect him once. I'm done.
Okay. And when you say try to protect him, who are you talking about?
Carl.
Okay.
You 100% sure
when you
he's
say Carl,
can't harm me?
when you say Carl, who do you mean?
Carl Dane.
Did you hear his question?
No.
You 100% sure he's in jail and he can't harm me?
Yes,
he's in jail.
He's in jail.
And he can't hurt it.
No,
Okay.
he's in isolation.
It appears that James has finally grasped the severity of the situation, but only so when his freedom is on the line.
It was Sunday, the 18th, I think, right?
Yeah, Sunday the 18th.
The whole day I've been drinking wine that I had left at home, and I got a little bit of tequila left, so I've been drinking all day.
Who were you with?
Me and Carl. That night Robbie came over.
And whose house were you at?
Come over.
Carl's grandpa's.
Out in the country?
You know what I mean?
Okay.
And Carl
I don't think he's fully...
was driving. He asked me if I wanted to go somewhere. I said yes.
I don't think he's
and
very
Robbie came
intelligent.
too. And he told us on the way what he was doing. And he said if we ever talked, we were dead.
Okay, then what did he say? He told you what we were going to do. What did he say?
He told us that we were going over to take Sydney and go. He told us we were going to. And he had the gun down his pants, a .22 pistol.
Although James is emotional and sounds very distressed as he's describing the series of events that transpired that night, it's unknown if he was really forced to go with Carl to commit this crime, or if he's just saying this now because they've all been caught. By telling the truth, he may even believe that this will lessen his responsibility for what happened. He sounds very emotional, but it's important to remember that while his tears could be due to feelings of remorse, they could also be a result of him being afraid for himself and what is going to happen to him now.
We went to the house, checked the doors, they were both locked.
So who all went to the house?
Me, all of us, me, and Robbie.
Okay.
Robbie was to look at Carl said. Robbie and Carl lifted me up and made me unlock the doors and wake up Sid.
So lifted you up to where?
The patio.
And where'd you go once you got on the patio?
I unlocked the door, the front door.
How'd you unlock the front door?
The patio was unlocked.
Well, so it was unlocked. Are you talking about a regular door or a sliding door?
The sliding door was the patio.
And so it was unlocked?
Yes. And then I went downstairs and unlocked the downstairs basement door to Sydney's room.
It's rather suspicious that the patio door to Sydney's room had already been unlocked, and given that this intrusion happened in the middle of the night, It might not be a coincidence.
By the sister.
I grabbed her so Tracy didn't wake up because if Tracy woke up, Carl was gonna shoot her. I wanted to kill Tracy.
How do you know that Carl was going to shoot Tracy? If
He told us before we walked in. He said, "No, leave no witnesses."
So you're in the house and you go down and let them in. And what happens next?
Carl points the gun at her and makes me wake her up. At first, she asked me what I was doing, and she knew who me and Carl were both because she goes James and Carl. She said our names, and she's trying to yell for Tracy. I didn't want Tracy to wake up because if Tracy woke up and came downstairs, Carl was gonna shoot her.
So what happened? What to stop that from happening?
I jumped on her so she'll be quiet and put my arm in her mouth, and then Robbie came over and helped me.
Is she on the bed or where?
Yes, she's on the couch thing.
Okay.
I asked her to be quiet. She started walking, and I taped her hands up because Carl told me to, and I started taping her mouth when she ripped it and started yelling, "Mom!" I had to stop her because I didn't want Tracy to die.
It seems odd that James was apparently so concerned about Tracy, an adult he either didn't even know or barely knew, but didn't appear to show much concern for harming Sydney, who was a peer. The little regard he showed for Sydney's life makes it all the more likely that he felt the same toward her mom. As the grisly plan is underway, it seems that Carl is the ringleader in this twisted event.
I was by the door. James went to put some tape around her mouth, and she took it off and stood up. And I guess thought it was a joke because she just stood up like normal and didn't act like anything was going on. And then Carl had the gun pointed at her, and that's when she kind of flipped out, and James grabbed her, and they wrestled to the ground and everything, and Carl walked over towards me and stood by me. She was kind of out wrestling him and everything, and Carl told me, "Help him." And I went over and
He was losing to a girl.
I put her in a chokehold.
Show him.
Like,
Mercado Libre.
Bro, he lost to a woman.
Aprovecha lo mejor en tecnología. Del 20 al
Imagine needing your
And
boy's help
she went
when you're a
unconscious.
fat fuck.
Carl said, "Get her outside." Me and James, I don't remember which, who had what end or whatever, but started bringing her outside. Right after we got out the door, she woke up again. And he said, "Put her in it again."
Oh my god, bro.
James ended up putting her in a chokehold and kept it on her for
Oh no.
quite a long time.
What happens next?
He put her in chokehold again and held it for several minutes.
No.
And he stopped, checked her pulse, and there wasn't one. James said, get the car.
Okay. Now this is the important part we're talking about. What happened while he was going to get the
A
car?
minute of a chokehold is.
Carl sat there and smoked a cigarette.
So she's unconscious now, right?
Yeah.
Or maybe even dead.
Yeah.
Right? So, how did you guys get her
You
to the
got brain
car?
damage after 1 minute. Several
Somebody
minutes.
took an arm or a leg and just lifted her up and drug her.
Somebody.
Yeah, one of us took one arm, another guy took another arm, somebody took the legs.
So then why were pants down?
No.
Well, I wasn't, I was walking behind them while they were dragging, until we got to the creek. And that's how the pants got down.
Bro, they.
So you still say that the pants were pulled down because she was being drugged?
Yeah.
And so nobody touched her? You sure?
Not that I know of.
Bro.
This statement is considered a qualification phrase, which can sometimes be an indicator of deception. It gives the suspect an escape in the event that they later need to retract what they said. The response is rather vague and leaves open the possibility that someone did assault her.
You would know.
She woke up halfway down the creek, and so I just walked 2 feet away, smoked a cigarette.
What do you mean she woke up?
Like, came to.
Okay, so she woke up halfway down the creek. And why did you walk away from that? Because they had sex with her?
No, somebody, choking her, so I just walked. I didn't think I went to, smoke a cigarette.
So who choked her?
Robbie was at that time.
Choking is commonly a crime of passion linked to jealousy and personal rivalry. But it's odd that Carl isn't the one to actually strangle Sydney, given the fact that the two had allegedly engaged in a short-term romance earlier that year. Supposedly, the relationship lasted for only a week, ending over another boy. In the past, Carl had allegedly vowed to take revenge upon all of the women that had scorned him, but no one would have thought he would take it this far.
And did anybody shoot her out there?
No.
Okay, and when choked her this time, did she stay choked? Never woke up again?
No.
And how do you know it was Robbie that was choking her, not James? Because it was dark, wasn't it?
Because I could tell the trench coat from all clothes.
Who had the trench coat on?
James. Just sat up and I'm like, hey guys, get back to it.
This comment is especially indicative of Carl's total indifference to the fact that this is a human life, and not just any human life, but a girl he knew and even had a brief romance with. Carl's behavior is very typical of individuals with antisocial personality disorder. As he sits there with a slouched posture, practically motionless, it's very evident that he is completely void of any empathy or remorse. When law enforcement recovered Sydney's body on July 25, 2010, she was unrecognizable and needed to be identified. In a meeting with detectives, Sydney's mother was asked if her daughter wore a specific type of necklace with a dangling music charm. Tracy confirmed it was Sydney's, and with the heartbreaking revelation, Tracy came to the terrible realization that her daughter was dead.
10 o'clock that night, you called Chad the next day. Is that right?
Yeah.
And why did you call Chad? What did you tell him?
Tell him the job was done.
Just to see what's up.
No.
Oh, bro.
Come on, Carl. You know, we're all just... Tell him the mission's accomplished?
Yeah.
Told him the job's done.
Told him the job's done.
Oh.
And how did he know what job you had because of the phone call you made ahead of time?
Yeah.
Told him, want to go kill somebody?
And did you already tell him who that somebody was?
Yeah. Right after I got off the phone with Chad.
So when you called him before you went to Sydney's, you told him what you were going to do. And you wanted to make sure that he had got Dakota out of there?
Yeah.
Is that right, or
yeah, that's right.
Was that the plan?
Yeah, just wanted to make sure Dakota was out the house.
And he understood why Dakota was going to be out of the house. So you and him had talked about this, planning to do this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
To Sydney.
Carl's voice has become weaker and his words are short and prematurely cut off. He sounds defeated, and for good reason, as we'll soon learn.
It was late at night, and it was dark, whatever, and them two showed up, and we was outside on my porch. They said, we need to talk, whatever, and I had Chase stay on my porch, and we went around the house and talked about it, said, we're going back tonight, you gotta go, and I told him, I'm not going, I shouldn't have been involved, I didn't want to be involved. She was a close friend of mine, and I said I didn't want to be involved.
Robbie's show of remorse is too little, too late. Although the shocking truth behind the gruesome murder has been revealed, there's still much more to the story. The detectives are well aware of the truth, however.
If somebody tells me, yo, we're gonna kill a close friend of yours, bro, I kill you. I don't kill my close friend. I kill you. I shoot you. Bam, 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 bam. I'm not gonna let you kill my close friend. Fuck you.
And they want Chad to reveal his ultimate role.
You explained it in a way that's going to make it really easy for us in grand jury, Chad. You understand that? That you're the number one.
Yeah.
Those guys that were as loyal to you as dogs. So
you told them
what you're laying out is there's no possible way they would have done this without your permission.
Yeah.
That there's no possible way they would have done that without you telling them to. You just laid that out for us.
Yeah.
Yes, you did.
Chad is remaining unusually calm for someone who's being accused of giving permission for someone else's murder. He may believe that his reaction is in line with an honest person, but in actuality, someone who's being truthful is more likely to have a strong, adamant denial to a false accusation. A truthful individual may even become hostile if their denial is not accepted. On the other hand, someone who's being deceptive is more likely to offer vague denials or use a weak tone of voice, as Chad is doing now.
I have a hard time believing that you would order the murder of your girlfriend's sister.
Fuck, dude.
I have a hard time believing that. But you know what? You're making me believe.
Yeah. What the fuck is this? Dale, pariente. Oh, here we go.
Y carga su cuerno, trae escapulario que lo cuida del infierno. Trae a 4 vatos y en locos en los asientos, empecherados y están listos para el fuego. Y un pase son el corto, negra la capucha y no me deja ver los ojos.
Go fuck yourself, bitch.
The detective is trying to shake Chad's confidence so that he'll slip up and admit to something. Once they can get him to confess to having knowledge of the attack, it will be easier to later prove that he was much more involved.
Bro, he
In an
definitely oughta
exclusive,
been.
never-before-seen interview with Dakota's childhood best friend and Chad's ex-girlfriend, Jerica Coupling, she reveals exactly who Chad really was.
Whatever Chad wanted, Chad got. I do feel, and I do think, he is capable of being that person to be in charge. He's done it before.
I didn't know anything except what I was being told from Dakota and her mom. All I know.
Let me ask you this. Carl had a 22 Ruger. You've seen it, you've shot it, right? He claims it came from you. No way. How did you get it, Carl? Doesn't have any money.
I can't even be around guns, you know, let alone get them.
But you have been around guns, and when you're not supposed to be around guns, so that's not really good excuse.
I mean, it's just like...
As we already know, Chad allegedly supplied the gun to Carl. Him potentially lying about it takes away any credibility that he may have previously had, although that might have been slim to none.
You don't tell what's going on?
Other people.
Say, if I was in their position and say someone did something, right? Yeah, and they got off in that, and I'd be pretty pissed.
We've got at least 5 other people
Telling us that it
telling
was you.
very important things about what took place.
No.
And they're all asked bunches of questions, and they all match up, and they all make sense.
Doritos. You do it on the shirt, and if you don't do it on the shirt,
It's just not going to be good in the end.
Chad likely feels torn here. If he believes that the others have turned on him, as the detective is claiming, he may be worried that he will face a worse punishment for lying, not appearing remorseful, and being seen as uncooperative. However, if it's all a lie and his friends haven't mentioned his involvement,
I don't think it's
there
hard
may
enough
not
to
be
be
enough
thinking about
evidence to
this.
convict him. Without being able to communicate with them, he's faced with a decision dilemma. Rather than admit to anything, Chad maintains his innocence, but the question is still lingering in the air. Why was Sydney murdered? There's one other person who has yet to give answers, someone unexpected but undoubtedly close to Sydney, though not by choice. Again, we're met with the lively Dakota, who, up until this point, hasn't been a person of interest. When we pick up, the detective leaves no room for small talk and jumps right into the most critical of information.
Why was the
Is
door
there
open?
a reason Carl, James,
Killed your sister.
and Robbie did not like Sydney?
Robbie, I do believe, never knew Sydney. James, from what I have heard him say,
She was a fat fuck.
he was getting mad because Sydney was apparently going around spray painting stuff and blaming it on him and Carl. And
Bruh.
Carl, him
Carl
and
just hates
Sydney
women.
dated during spring break, which,
Let's be honest.
This year?
yeah, which
Carl
I think
hates
would have
women.
been
Let's be real, bro. I can look at
the
his
first
face.
weekend of April.
Bro,
As
I
you'll
see
see, the
his
next
face,
question
he
that
hates
the
women.
detective asks will come as a total shock.
Which one of these warrants murder? Spray painting? See? No. Let's answer my question. We got to stay on track here.
Yeah?
Notice how Dakota begins to touch her nose here, possibly indicating that she feels uncomfortable and is trying to soothe her nervous energy.
That's a harder.
Why would these three...
Why
I
would
dated
they?
her for 2 weeks.
She spray painted.
She accused me of spray painting,
And I didn't
and
know
I don't
her.
know her at all. Why does that warrant
Oh my god, bro! I'm
someone
losing
being
fucking.
murdered?
I'm
I
losing
don't
subs on the
know.
fucking second, bro.
Probably. Because I think, honestly, I think
What
Carl
the
threatened
fuck?
Raleigh.
Has Chad had any issues with Sydney?
Not that I know of.
Oh, y'all.
Dakota is using a qualification
boyfriend.
phrase here, possibly to cover herself
I
if it's
know
later
of.
revealed that Chad did have an
You're
issue
the
with
girlfriend,
Sydney.
you dumb cunt.
The
You
detective
should
has now
know.
changed her position, moving closer in proximity to Dakota to assert a pressure-building tactic, specifically promoted in the Reed interrogation technique.
Pressure
This has
us.
got to stop right here and right now, Dakota.
Yeah, stop lying to me, bro.
Let's switch this around. Sydney is sitting in this chair. And you are the one that your mother just buried. What would you want Sydney to do for you?
As we have previously heard, there had been a rift between Dakota and Sydney well before her death, but it was never clear on how tumultuous their relationship was until now.
She's good at pressing. Oh my god, bro. I hope these people have a horrible relationship. What the fuck is this? Why do you have nothing in the fridge and have a nice apartment, bro? Oh yeah, you two people are so much in love.
Dakota did not like her sister. She would always talk about how she did not like Sydney hanging out with us. She hated Sydney bothering us when she had us over.
Why?
She would always
She was a
yell at
fuck
her and tell her to go the away and all this other stuff. And I'm just like,
why? Because she had big
dude,
titties when her sister
you
had no titties.
relax. Stop being mean to your sister. Because, you know, that's your sister. I got back a hold of her.
Hey, you know
I was
what,
like,
bro? I love
dude,
my brother, but fuck
what's
my
going
brother,
on? Where's your sister? Have you heard
Fuck my
anything?
brother,
This
bro.
and that. She was just so nonchalant and was just like, oh, she probably just ran away again, da da da. And I was just like, okay, well, when Sydney died, I went to the funeral service because Tracy talked to me about it. So I showed up, and what bothered me and made me question about everything was the fact that Dakota was acting her normal self, smiling, bouncing around, just casually talking to everybody like it was no big deal.
What would you want Sydney to do for you?
Oh, your
You know
sister
what?
got
Ron,
murdered.
I've got two sisters. Growing up in a household, let me talk.
Oh, bro,
There's going to be a lot of arguments. Okay?
She's
I
moving
argued
in.
with my sisters. I still do.
Yeah,
We love
fuck
each
my
other very
brother.
much.
Yeah, me too.
Sydney loved you very much.
And you let her die.
Don't you think she was scared that night?
Yeah.
You've got to tell us what happened. You know a lot more to this.
Dakota is backed into a corner, both literally and figuratively, and the detective has easily gotten her to break.
I can tell you some things that I heard in and out of.
Okay, what did you hear in and out of, hon?
There was one day, it was me, Chad, Carl, and James on the car. Me and Chad were in the back seat.
What day was this?
Were you fucking?
Wednesday night?
Okay.
21st.
Were you fucking?
Me and Chad, we were in the back seat. Me and him were talking because the 31st would have been a year ago that my dog died.
Okay.
So I was talking, I was like, yeah. I was like, do you want to go with me to put flowers on Nikki's grave? And he was like, yeah, sure, I can do that. And I was like, okay. And then I could hear Carl talking.
You heard who talking?
James and Carl in the front seat, because I don't think Chad has been giving you Chad was having the conversation. I was listening theirs. And I heard Carl say, what did you do to her? And at first I thought they were talking about someone that James had been with. And I was like, I could only hear bits and pieces.
What bits and pieces were you hearing?
Come
I
on,
heard
you can hear
James
bits
say,
and pieces.
tied around the only thing up feet.
Okay.
And then I heard Carl say, not good. Because he said something before that, and he was like, not good. And James was like, if someone finds her, they can call the cops, and then we get caught.
And this was Wednesday.
Yeah, and I had no clue what they were talking about, because I was from the thing, I was like,
Oh,
what
well,
are
neither
they
did your
talking
boyfriend.
about?
Bro, come on.
On
they're
Wednesday,
talking about
July
a fucking-
21st, the group was heading to
covering a murder in the front seat, and you can't hear them. Dog. You can hear everything anybody says in any car. Let's be real. You can hear it all, unless they're whispering. They're like, hey, Oh, bro, that's pretty gay. Oh, my bad. Unless you're whispering, they can hear it.
Nashville, Illinois to pick up some K2, a synthetic
I've never been in a
cannabinoid,
car.
when Dakota allegedly overheard the
bro,
chilling
K2.
conversation. But did she really just hear these
Yeah, no, of
things,
course she did.
or did she actually take part in the discussion?
Of course you did.
I want you to ask me one thing. I don't want you to answer me very honestly. Why did Chad order the murder of your sister, Sydney?
He ordered it?
Why did he order
You
that?
ordered it? Why?
Why did he want her killed?
Was it
He
because of
ordered?
you?
Why did he want her
ordered?
killed?
I don't know. Did he order?
Why did he want her killed?
Why?
I didn't even know that he wanted her killed.
Answer my
Oh, don't be a
question,
dumb
Dakota.
bitch, bro.
I really don't know.
Dakota?
Repeating the question can be a possible indication of deception.
Dakota?
There are two purposes to this. One, the suspect doesn't want there to be an uncomfortable silence after a loaded question, as it may look suspicious.
Why were you jealous
And
of your
two,
sister?
they need time to think as they're likely unprepared and don't know how
Why did
to
you get
answer.
your boyfriend to kill her?
It's also a red flag that Dakota does not adamantly deny that Chad was capable of doing this, but instead offers vague answers like, I don't know. It should be pretty upsetting to find out that your boyfriend ordered the murder of your little sister.
No, bro,
But Dakota...
if they told me, bro, your girlfriend ordered the murder of your brother, I'd be like, no, that bitch ain't kill my brother, bro. If she killed my brother, I'd kill her. You kill my brother, I kill you, bro. That's how it goes. Fuck you.
It doesn't
what I
show
would-
any strong reaction to the news.
No, that's false.
And
false.
despite her persistent
False.
claims that she was unaware,
Cap.
Dakota
You're
says
lying,
that
bro. You're
Friday,
doing this
July
shit
23rd,
content, huh?
the
You're doing this
P-Town
shit
Saints
being
had gathered
recorded.
at Carl's
Oh, my
grandpa's
being
house,
recorded.
where she
And that's when
states
you go full
another
schizo.
exchange of
And
words
you
had occurred.
plead a lunacy.
What was discussed about Sydney out there?
Nothing was said about Sydney.
Really?
Not that I know of.
Oh, come on.
Again, Dakota is using a
Not
qualification
that I
phrase to cover her
know.
tracks, although this doesn't really help her case.
Nobody said anything about
Eye
Sydney.
for an eye, remember,
Carl
bro.
kept asking if we
Two
were looking
eyes for
for
an
her
eye.
and if we had found her
You
yet.
take one of my eyes, I
Because
take
he was
two
like,
of your
"Hey,
eyes, two of your
Anthony,
children's
Anthony,
eyes,
where are
two
you
of your
looking at?
wife's
Where are you
eyes,
looking
two
at?
of your
Okay,
daughter's
what-
eyes, two of your
What if I
granddaughter's
told
eyes,
you-
two of your grandfather's eyes.
That the people who you named off were out there that we have interviewed.
I will make sure, bro. I will make
And
sure your
you
whole
guys all
lineage only has
discussed
one
Sydney.
eye. And we're gonna start calling them
do not
Cyclops.
remember.
Let's don't go there, Dakota. Let's don't go there.
That's what happens,
Okay.
bro, if you take one of my eyes.
It's time you start being honest. I'm tired of this. It's warm in here.
Yup.
You've got to start being
Bro,
honest with
listen,
me.
I'll
You guys
genetically edit
discussed
your
Sydney
children
that night.
so they are born with one eye.
Dakota likely feels very stressed, which may explain her sudden increase in fidgeting with her hands. Her mind is likely racing as she tries to decide on what to say.
The
I'll go
conversation
full on
between
China,
you
bro.
guys.
I'll go full on China. I'll become Chinese. I'll become
trying to
Chinese. And I'll become a Chinese doctor. I'll befriend a Chinese doctor, even better. And I'll get
The
him
only
to
thing
do
I can
secret gene
remember was
editing.
Carl saying something about his gun and how he shot
You'll
someone.
be injected.
Okay.
It's the
And
only
then
thing
your
I can
children
remember.
And
will
what
only have
did
one eye.
Chad say?
I can't
No,
remember.
you do remember what Chad said.
Yes, you do, bro.
And that's what we need to discuss. What did Chad say about Sydney and the police?
I can't remember what Chad
Yeah, you can. Yes, you can. I know it's hard for you. I know it's hard.
Because all I remember was Carl told me that he said that if you tell anybody anything we talk about, I'll kill you and make it look like Chad did it.
Okay. But Chad said something about the police not looking
Yes.
at any of you. What did he say?
What did he say?
I think he said that the police weren't helping.
Okay.
Because he had asked me if the police were being any help, and I was like, no, I was like, the police aren't much help. They're just saying he's a runaway. I think that's what he had told me.
And what else did he say about the police?
There are a bunch of dumb fucks who will never
I
find
can't
her body.
remember what else he said.
That he said the police were not looking at them.
I don't remember that.
You have to think.
Bro.
I'm trying to think, but
You think right now. You've got to do this for Sydney
a
and
lot
your
of
mom.
stuff that they
Who left the fucking door open, you fucking whore? Who left the door open? So they could get in and open the door and kill your sister, huh? I know it was you, you little cunt. It wasn't your fucking mother. I know it was you and your garbage ass piece of shit human life, bro. When you left to fuck your weirdo Chad friend, your weirdo Chad, oh my god, he's in a gang. He's like so aggressive. He's like so cool. Retard. I'll take her. You're the one who left the door open, didn't you? Don't lie to me, bro. I remember the facts. I remember the facts. Why was that door open on that fucking frightful day? I mean, frightful night? Huh? The same night that you left to your fucking pedophile boyfriend who happens to have a gang and calls people dogs, but somehow is not involved in this. Bro, go fuck yourself. You and your bitch boy are involved, bro. And you know what? If you don't tell me just for lying, I'm gonna stop pushing for the death sentence. Yup. I wanna see them hanged. Not electric chair. Not a fucking hanged. Why? Because you lied to me. And it's not about you. Your life is no longer about you. It's about sending a message. See, this is not justice. It's retaliation. Monka fucking mega. Monka mega. She'd shit her pants, bro. She'd be like,
If what Dakota is saying is true, most would find it disturbing that she didn't notify the local authorities. But then again, she may have been genuinely terrified that Carl would follow through with his alleged intensified.
You know what she needs? She needs a little bit of a slapping. From the female cop. A little bit of a slapping so she wakes up. I can't remember. Wake up, bitch. Wake up. Oh, you know what? I remember.
Find threats. No matter, the detective
She's
wants
not a
more.
woman. She's a prisoner.
Do you realize that
No, I don't
Sydney will
condone.
never
I
have
don't
some of the
condone.
opportunities
I
that
don't
you have?
condone violence.
Was Sydney still in school?
She was only a sophomore, I think. Possibly, I don't know.
Sydney's not going to get to graduate.
She said she was never going to graduate.
She's got a lot of milestones. She had a lot of milestones left in her life. Sydney's never going to get married. Sydney's never going to have babies.
Oh, she's never
You will
going to
never
be
have any
loved.
nieces or nephews. You have to do the right thing for your sister. She had a lot taken away from her.
Damn,
Your
bro.
mom had a lot taken away from her.
Damn, son.
And you had
She's
a lot
never-
taken away from you.
Your mama's never gonna have grandchildren because you're gonna spend the rest of your life in prison, bitch. And your sister's dead. And your eggs are gonna dry up and you're gonna be a 45-year-old woman by the time you walk out of this place. So you just fucked your whole family's legacy. Oh, goddamn, bro. That's oppressive. I've ever seen oppress in my life. You killed your whole goddamn fucking family's fucking legacy, bro. It's just you and your sister. And thanks to your sorry ass, this thing that has started since the beginning of time, every single one of your ancestors had kids. Since the beginning of fucking time, bro. You killed your bloodline. You did that. Since the beginning, bro. Beginning of time. Since there was one fucking goddamn cell. Your whole bloodline, bro. You killed it. Oh my god, you're a disappointment. You're a full-on disappointment, bro. Not even to people, but like you're a disappointment to humanity and to the universe as a whole.
And now it's time that you stand up for
You did
Sydney
that, bro.
and nobody else.
You did that. Not your mom,
And you've
not
got
your
to start
sister.
protecting Chad. Chad's not protecting you. Chad hated Sydney, and Robbie just didn't know
No,
it.
Osama. I don't believe in evolution. I believe in evolution. She's evil, bro. Her descendants were one-celled organisms. I'm different to her, bro. She's not my species. She's not my species, bro. I'm a human, bro. She comes from apes. She definitely come from a single-celled organism. Definitely, 100%.
I didn't even know Chad hated
100%.
never said anything about it.
But he wouldn't tell you, would he?
I don't.
But
She
right,
does.
you know, and that's what I don't understand.
I come from
You guys
God.
don't know, and he's
She
not
comes
telling
from
you
a
anything.
single-celled organism.
This is not an equal
I mean, look at her stance.
relationship. I know.
The cries that you're seeing from Dakota might almost seem believable. However, what she will soon expose about herself will bring this investigation into a whole new light. As of now, she tells the detective of the chilling confession that Carl supposedly made to her on Friday, the 23rd.
I want to hear the whole story Carl told you the night out at his grandpa's on Friday night.
Okay. He said that he had broken into my house, and then he had done something to Sydney. I said, "What did you do?" He's like, all I can say is that she was shot. And I was like, okay.
Oh, come on, bro. You didn't ask if she lied?
And he was like, yeah, he's like, other than that, he's like, I can't do anything else. I was like, well, who else all knew about this? He's like, I'm not telling you who else knew. That was why. He's like, because if you tell anybody, he's like, I'll kill you and blame it on Chad.
Why didn't you tell this to the police when they interviewed you?
Dakota's story here is highly questionable. When individuals are giving a truthful account of a traumatic event, such as finding out that one of your friends shot your sister, they're more likely to have both facts and their feelings intertwined in their account. Instead of describing her shock or grief when hearing about Sydney's murder, the next thing she mentions is to protect herself, claiming she kept quiet out of fear for her own life.
You tell me, bro. You tell me, bro, that you killed my brother. This is what I do to you, bro. I send you out in space. I become a billionaire. I smuggle you into a spaceship and I send you right into a goddamn asteroid. That's what I would do, bro. That's what I would do if you killed my brother. I smuggled you in, bro. I would banish you to the fucking shadow realm, bro. You'd be crying. You'd be like, oh, God. And nobody would know. Nobody would know, bro. That's what I would do to you. But this bitch, she's like, okay. She's like, okay. Go fuck yourself.
La gente me destruyera todo el tiempo.
I would make them, bro, I would make them go find the aliens.
Y convertirme en cazadora.
I would make them find the aliens, as this is what would happen to you, bro. This is what would happen to you if you killed my brother. And then you come in and you confess, bro. This is you. And this is an asteroid. This is you, bro. No, that ain't you anymore. That ain't you. That's you in your next life when you become a lesbian woman.
Mi función favorita es la de piloto de logística. Me gusta la idea de ser una deidad en el campo de
That's what I would do.
De decidir quién vive y quién muere.
Yeah, I would decide, bro, I would decide who lives and who dies, and you're dying, motherfucker, for killing my brother, bitch. Woo! Yep, that's what I would do.
How did Carl say he got in your house?
He never said how he got into my house.
How do you think he got in your house?
No, after I'd seen the chair and the way that it is and all that, I think they went through the deck, or they went through the deck.
Why did you unlock the door?
I didn't unlock the door.
Okay, your mom says the day before she's doing laundry. She's washing blankets. She hangs them out on the deck. She goes out later on. She gets the blankets, carries them in, and she specifically remembers
my time to shine.
Locking the door.
What door?
The deck doors.
I have not been near the deck door in a long time. I was hardly ever anywhere near the deck door.
The detective is hoping Dakota will implicate Chad as the mastermind behind the crime. It remains unclear as to how the patio door was unlocked, especially since Tracy was certain that she'd locked each and every door in the house. It seems someone else had intentionally unfastened the bolt.
She would do it.
We know. You were with Chad Sunday night
on that day
at his house. There's no question about that.
You were each other's
We know
alibis.
Chad gets a phone call from Carl to see if it's still a go. There's no question about that either. We know you were there with Chad when he received the phone call from Carl Sunday night. We also know you were there with Chad Monday morning when Carl called and said it's handled, it's done.
You gotta tell me something. You got to tell me right there,
she's hyper-pressing. Bro, she's hyper-pressing.
Hey, you're right there. You want to step over. You want to step over that line. I know you do.
She's
you
like
got
a
to tell me
monster
what's
around
this
this defense.
No, you know it.
Look at her.
But he even seriously got over that. Okay, so let's put that in the equation.
Dakota unveils another shocking piece of information, one that could possibly indicate a motive, and it seems that Chad was not the only person to
Get closer. This knee needs to be over there. Fucking press her.
hold a grudge. According to some sources, at one point during the pair's relationship, Dakota apparently had found her sister's diary and couldn't help but read the entries. She never could have anticipated the shocking information waiting to be discovered. As Dakota turned each page one by one, she was frozen in place as she stumbled.
Why do the women always come into my fucking stream as I'm saying something highly sus? Every time. Whenever I'm saying something weird, then I see a fucking Naomi. Naomi is fucking saying something. I say something weird, Erica says something. I say another thing weird, Sheik shows up. I say another weird thing, 11. Come on, dog. Leave me alone. Stop coming in here when I say some weird shit.
Across a detailed passage describing an alleged romantic encounter between Sydney and none other than Chad. Dakota, in an instant, grew furious, even though the alleged event had taken place before she started dating her new boyfriend. This event has never been publicly confirmed, and there's no evidence of it occurring. Nonetheless, it is something that Dakota would likely never forget.
Why did he have his friends kill her? Because like the fact that I had to watch her help take care of her.
As Sydney was facing ongoing mental health issues, her mother became increasingly worried and asked Dakota to watch her while Tracy was at work. Of course, Dakota wasn't at all thrilled to be spending the majority of her time with Sydney and apparently voiced her concerns to Chad. On top of that, the gang leader felt that Dakota's so-called babysitting duties had taken precious time away from him. And with or without knowing, the 18-year-old has just provided 2 reasons to the detective as to why Chad may have ordered the murder. Dakota has officially implicated her boyfriend, and when Chad becomes aware of this, away from him, the gang would work. Became
his friends killed her.
Why did her friends kill
her? Because like the fact that I had to watch her help take care of her.
As Sydney was facing ongoing mental health issues, her mother became increasingly worried and asked Dakota to watch her while Tracy was at work. Of course, Dakota wasn't at all thrilled to be spending the majority of her time with Sydney and apparently voiced her concerns to Chad. On top,
bro, he really killed her because he wanted you to be over more. And I bet you anything, this bitch thought it was romantic. She's like, oh my god, he's gonna kill my sister because he wants to spend more time with me. You demon. She's a demon,
bro.
The
gang leader felt that Dakota's so-called babysitting duties had taken precious time away from him. And with or without knowing, the 18-year-old has just provided 2 reasons to the detective as to why Chad may have ordered the murder. Dakota has officially implicated her boyfriend, and when Chad becomes aware of this, he is clearly surprised.
Well, you know what? You two are not gonna spend that much time together anymore. In fact, Chad, you're gonna be spending time with a bunch of men. A bunch of men. You like gangs a lot. Oh, I'll show you a couple of gangs. Yeah.
As would be expected.
The story she told about what happened to Sydney was the truth. And the only way she could have known it is to hear it directly from Carl or James or Robbie or from you. That's the only options there are. She could not have heard it from anywhere else.
I'm telling you, she didn't hear it from me.
So Dakota's lying about it?
I guess.
Why would your great love lie about you?
Bro.
I don't know.
Dude, if somebody lies about something I said, I'm not gonna go, I guess. Is she lying? I guess. She's lying? Hell yeah, bro. She's a demon. She's a Jezebel in spirit. In fact, I think she killed her. I think she's trying to frame it on us. That's what I think. Yeah, you looked into it, motherfucker. Who opened the glass door? And that's when they're gonna tell me, hey, we didn't tell you the glass door was open. And I go, oh no. That's when I got caught. Right? That's what's gonna happen, bro.
See, that really
we didn't tell you the glass door wasn't locked.
It really bugs me.
You too.
That you're gonna put this on now. you're going to put it on Dakota. I'm not putting anything on anyone. Sure you are. You're just calling her a liar. You just called her a liar.
No, that's what it sounds like.
So you put it on her now.
She told you that, yeah,
She's
she
worried
lied.
about you. Well, put yourself in our position. Who are we going to believe? And we know she didn't hear it from us, because we haven't told anybody.
Believe all
She
women.
didn't hear it from me.
Well, I'm pretty positive she didn't hear it from James or Carl or Robbie. That only leaves you.
It didn't come from them.
She's
Wasn't
positive
me.
that it did.
Oh, we caught you on camera?
You know,
Wasn't
what
me.
I don't understand is this. You want to get clear of all this stuff.
Wasn't me.
You want to back out of the gang. Yet you're not going to tell the truth about something like this. You're not going to tell the truth about the fact that Carl or James or both told you what happened that night. You're not going to support your supposed lover. You know, here you are. You're so worried about yourself.
You don't even care about the people that you love.
You won't even tell the truth when it comes down to something that as serious as murder.
Damn, bro.
You know, what kind of standing up is that for anything?
The detectives have cleverly pitted Dakota and Chad against one another, but the P-Town leader holds steady on his position that he did not have any involvement in the murder. Although he did showcase some unusual behavior following Sydney's death, especially at her funeral.
Sad boy hours, sad boy hours.
I'm going to the legend pa' mi despedida. El Genesis brillando, todo no está en el barrio. Por eso es que estos lujos se hacen necesarios. Vacío en mi pieza after escenario. Cumpliendo expectativas para la que me parió. La plata nunca tapa el dolor. Mira, mamá, I can fly, fly. Ahora se caso cuando estoy mal, pero ya no vivo slow.
Okay, it's pretty gay, not gonna lie, pretty gay. But I actually like that guy.
Chad's behavior. He was crying. Chad doesn't cry when all this other information came out.
Bro, what the fuck? You're right. Chads don't cry. I never cry. My dad died. I didn't cry. My grandma died. No, grandpa died. I didn't cry. My other grandpa died. I didn't cry, bro. And I was like 7 years old. I hold frame. She's right. She's right. Never cry. If you're a child, never cry.
And like the speculations and the theories behind it all, nobody really knows except them.
When we return to Dakota, the detective is in pursuit of details surrounding the planning. But it won't be until the next day, when Dakota is brought in for additional questioning, that we hear the specifics. And they are quite alarming. If you think you've heard just about everything, wait until the shocking pieces of the puzzle are finally put together.
Why are you crying?
Because of Mickey.
Who's
Your
Mickey?
dog?
Yeah. Because she is dead, so.
So's your sister.
I know.
Bro,
But you cry, you cry more for your dog than you do your sister. That's.
Oh my god, bro, the monumental press. Bro, this bitch just 5-star frog splashed her. Did you see that shit? She's crying over a fucking dog. What about your sister? Dog? What the fuck? Get the Mickey. Bro, your sister was gone for several fucking days, and then she showed up fucking murdered in the middle of a fucking field, dog. Like, what the fuck? With her pants down. She might have been fucking raped. And you're crying over your dog? Okay, bro. Just
Kinda disturbing
send her
to me,
jail
you know?
just off of that. And gosh,
Dakota
we're
is
never gonna
hiding
do
a dark
dick-sucking
secret,
stream on
one that
Kick,
not
bro.
even
It's
her
not
closest
legal.
friend saw coming.
Can't do that.
She was very bubbly and she was always pretty much full of energy and bright,
She's faking.
and she was clumsy
Like a shit ton of streamers.
and she was funny. Her normal everyday behaviors never indicated any
what, she got
what would you call
manipulated?
it? Psychoticness.
When and where were you, Chad, Carl, James, and Robbie at when whoever said, we're gonna murder Sydney?
It's not worth.
Robbie wasn't even in the picture.
Okay, so who was all there?
Was gonna be the guy who got his dick sucked for fame.
James.
What the fuck?
Chad.
It's not worth.
When was it?
It's not worth, bro. I'm making a deal with the devil.
Okay, and what?
I don't need that deal, bro.
Who brought the conversation up?
I make a deal with this devil.
And what was the conversation?
Carl was like, one day I'd love to kill all the whores who me over. And then James was like, who? He's just like...
Bro, let's be real. Let's be real. Carl, look at him. Look at him. Let's look at Carl. Let's be real, bro. How many whores fuck this guy, huh? Let's be real. I got a couple of girls in my fucking in my fucking Twitch. None of them would bang this guy. Are you kidding me? Bro, this guy didn't bang anybody. He's mad because he got no fucking pussy. That's the truth.
Mainly Sydney and Bobby.
That's the truth.
Bobby's a girl.
Yeah.
But just a few minutes ago you said Chad told them.
Chad told him that
no
he
one
didn't
on my
want
phone
Sydney
would
dead.
bang him. Carl, a deceivingly reserved person, has had a most turbulent past, and one of his ex-girlfriends, Bobby Elder, was able to see his darkest sides. While dating, Bobby recalled that at one time, Carl allegedly pointed a gun and threatened to shoot her, while simultaneously attempting to take his own life with the deadly weapon.
He should have done it.
The traumatized girl would remember what he said during the terrifying incident for the rest of her life. The voices won't stop telling me to kill you, Bobby. Soon after that, the pair decided to split up, but that wouldn't stop.
She pressed him to fucking press the button. Dude, did you see what she said? I mean, she might have been right. She's probably right. The voices won't stop telling you to kill me. Me to kill you, Bobby. Oh my god. Oh, I thought she said this. He said this. Oh, he should have listened to himself, bro. He should have listened to himself. I thought she said that.
The scorned ex from enacting the most violent behavior that Bobby had ever witnessed from Carl. In that disturbingly memorable instance, Carl allegedly threatened to shoot Bobby along with everyone in her house and vowed to burn the residence down.
Bro,
along with this, he allegedly stalked Bobby and her new boyfriend, Joseph Whaley, who had previously been married to Carl's sister. The gang member would supposedly insinuate the use of a gun with his hand and give out a warning to his ex-brother-in-law. You're next.
But not fat female friends.
In addition to the threats, Chad and Carl had allegedly committed a callous act. It said that they shot Bobby's pet cat 15 times and left it for dead. Animal abuse is associated with additional violent crime like domestic violence, assault, and homicide. So it's unsurprising that they could do something so sinister. But as we've already found out, this is only a sliver of what they were truly capable of.
But just a few minutes ago you said Chad told them.
Chad told him that he didn't want Sydney dead. But
okay.
For reasons I don't know why. And
we're just gonna go in circles, aren't we, Dakota?
Well, I'm trying to tell you.
You're trying to tell me anything you can tell me that's gonna put everything on James,
Bobby,
Carl, and Robbie.
Robbie, yes.
Robbie wasn't in the picture of any...
For the death of your sister. And there's more to it than just those three.
This interrogation is mostly a replication of the day before. And because Dakota is unwilling to give any further information, she's arrested and charged with obstruction of justice. She's eventually released to home confinement. But in the future, we hear from Sydney's sister yet again. And this time, nothing will be left on the table.
Bro, why are they showing me?
Hey, come here for a second. Go ahead and turn around for James running back, okay? You're being under arrest for murder, all right?
Why?
If you want, you never mind.
That was the story I told
Here, put James running back.
What is going on?
Turn him on your back.
Murder. What? I don't know what to do. What? Just call Grandma and Grandpa and tell them they need to call
County call 7 female 10
Here, help her put on her shoes, okay? After the trauma of Sydney's murder, it's no surprise that Dakota's mother is hysterical and seemingly not reacting to what's happening. She's already lost one daughter, and she doesn't want to lose another. Although there's been an ongoing investigation into her sister's death, Dakota may have thought that her name had been cleared in the process. It would be 2 years before she's brought back in for questioning, and in that time, the evidence against her has drastically mounted. It's October 5th, 2012. Now the entirety of the sick and twisted truth will finally be revealed.
Let's get over the hump, and let's talk about this door. Let's get this door out once and for all. You hear me?
Left this door open.
Once and for all. What did you do to that door? Tell me. Huh? What did you do?
Bro, bang! What did you do, motherfucker? Bang! Trust me, I've seen so many movies. Trust me. Wait, what the fuck? No, don't do that, bro.
Door.
I've seen movies, it works in the movies.
Huh? What did you do?
I don't condone violence against women. Oh, men.
Okay, look at me. Take your hands away from your mouth and look at me. What did
Oh my god, presser. Point the finger.
And you unlocked the door.
So you're telling us, what are you telling us as far as what your knowledge is about the door being left unlocked when you were asked to do that and you did it? What did you think?
Yeah, you treat her like the Joker. Look, bro, I get that pausing doesn't work as good, okay, and I should just let the whole video go, but I'm saying some insightful stuff. She already dresses like the Joker. You might as well treat her like the Joker. What did Batman do to the Joker? Tommy! Bang! Tommy! Bang! Remember that scene? Look at this. Look at this, bro. And if Batman can do it and he's a hero, so can the police officer. Batman versus Joker table. Look at this. Look at this. Tommy! Look, bro, he's interrogating. Look.
Not exactly.
Look, if she gonna act like the Joker, you treat her like the Joker. That's what you do.
Never start with the head. The victim gets all.
Look.
You can't feel the neck. See? You wanted me. Here I am.
What did you do, sister?
And you didn't disappoint. You let 5 people die.
No, you only killed your sister.
You let Dent take your place.
Who the fuck is Dent? Is that the dent that you put on the door?
Want you gone so they can get back to the way things were.
What the fuck are you talking about, you schizo woman? I'm here to talk about how you killed you let your sister die.
Forever.
I didn't change shit. Kill me. Wait, what? Now you wanna kill me?
I don't want to kill you.
No, you only wanted to kill your sister.
You go back to ripping off mob dealers? No.
What are you talking about? You guys are a shitty gang.
You complete me. You're gone.
Okay, girl, you're a weirdo, bro. I'm like 28, you're 17.
Even if you'd like to be.
What? Bro, hit him.
You're just a freak.
Hit him a couple more times. I ain't nothing like you, bitch. I'm nothing like you.
No. They'll cast you out. Like a leper. See, their morals, their code.
I'll show you my code. Oh.
Dropped at the first sign of trouble.
Okay.
They're only as good as the world allows them to be. I'll show you. When the chips are down, these civilized people, they'll eat each other. See, I'm not a monster.
I revealed the monster. Is that what you're gonna say? You little bitch! What did you do to the dog? Fuck it.
I have one rule. And that's the rule you'll have to break to know the truth. Which is? The only sensible way to live in this world is without rules. And tonight you're gonna break your one rule. I'm considering it. No, there's only one. So you're gonna have to play my little game if you want to save.
I will never play your game, you dumb bitch.
You know, for a while there, I thought you really were, Dent. The way you threw yourself after her.
you're gonna do to her, bro. This is what you're gonna do to her. So that they speak. You go, bang, bitch.
Does Harvey know about
Let's go.
his little bully?
Bang. Bang, bitch. Speak.
One eye for the other. Your friend.
Bang.
Or his blushing bride to be. You have nothing to threaten me with. Nothing to do with all your stress. I'm gonna tell you where they are. Both of them. And that's the point. You'll have to choose. He's at 252nd Street.
Bang!
And she's on Avenue.
Yeah, I'm sure I don't work at the cartel, bro.
Which one you going after? Rachel.
And that's, look, you see him getting on the bike. That's him pressing the girl. That's him going. That's him going. That's him going. All right, bitch. Tell me, what did you do to your fucking sister?
You don't understand.
No, I don't understand. What are you talking about?
You'll never need another set.
Okay, I can't roleplay that one. That's too much. That's too hard for me to roleplay. Too hard for me to roleplay.
Okay, so that's what you're saying. It's not that you knew for sure they were going to go in and do it and kill her that night.
In a
Bro, I was
gut-wrenching
showing you.
confession, Dakota has now admitted that she
You're asking me what the fuck was I doing? I'm showing you what an effective, okay, a very effective interrogation looks like.
did in fact leave the patio door unlocked. And although she provides
Be
a
like
justification,
Batman.
it's clear that the detectives aren't buying it.
Now, you're at different meetings. They're plotting. You know, you brought out the first time we knew that they were conspiring to
I was
kill
riding
your
the
mom.
motorcycle, you dumb fuck.
What was talked about? If
It's
your
a
mom woke
motorbike.
up? What were they going to do to your mom if she woke up when they were
I
doing
was
this
riding,
decision?
that's why.
I need you to tell me what they
That's
said
what I
they
was
were going to
doing.
do to your mom.
Chad told me that they were just gonna shoot her. If she
Oh,
woke
just.
up.
As the layers of
They
this
were
terrifying
just gonna
story are
shoot her.
continually peeled back, a slip of the tongue
How
on the part
about
of
I
Dakota
just shoot
reveals another piece of information
How about
that
I
she has
just
been
shoot
so
you?
desperately trying to hide.
Which meeting was this?
I don't know. I don't remember what days we had what days that they had.
Was it before?
No.
Before
We.
Was it before or
No,
after?
no, no. You said
she
we.
went missing?
You said we had meetings, they had, no, let's not go there, okay?
What day I wasn't.
Yeah, but
in
you said
today.
we had meetings, and you've been at these meetings, correct?
Yeah.
Dakota knew exactly what was going to take place. She knew that her sister was going to be murdered, and she did nothing to stop it. And when it was done, she apparently shared in the appalling triumph.
And you said to celebrate.
Well, listen, you know what, bro? Well, listen, you know what? If you're caught in that moment, you turn to the detectives and you say, well, I did her a favor. She always talked about how she wanted to die. So we just facilitated it. I mean, officer, is that a bad thing to do? See, that's when you go full schizo, right? That's when you reveal your true self. That's when you do it. But she failed. She's no content. No content, bitch.
What's to celebrate about?
No content.
That it was done. That's what
Jesus
they were
Christ, bro.
referring to.
And
And
Celebrating that you killed your brother.
Carl, Chad,
Sister.
Carl's the one that said celebrating. He said it several times and put up toasts and stuff.
Oh my God.
What did you toast to?
That it's done.
Oh my God.
So the whole time was Dakota knew all about this.
Yes.
What you're saying? She knew what you guys were toasting. She knew why.
She was smiling and all cheerful and everything and toasted with it.
The group seemed to be quite happy with their organized murder, to the point that James was supposedly laughing when he viewed the tragic news segment on TV. Although, as we heard in his previous
He was
confession,
crying
his
like a
laughter
bitch.
had been replaced by hysterical
Yeah,
cries.
crying like a
These
bitch.
would not be for Sydney, but rather for himself. James knew that he'd been caught, and his freedom was about to be stripped away.
Oh, see, your problem was
Nevertheless, it
being
couldn't
a
possibly compare to
glazer,
the
bro.
way in which he
Fucking
brutally
glazer.
took
He's gonna
hers.
glaze a lot of
Following the
glizzies. That's what
crime
he's
on
gonna
August
do in prison.
18th, 2010,
Oh, yes, sir.
one
He's
of the
gonna...
group had written a note to Sydney's mother, apologizing for their unthinkable actions. Part of it read, "I just wanted to say how sorry I am. I'm not a bad person, and my life is getting taken away because of what happened.
You, bro.
It seems like no one will believe me. I hope you do, and forgive me. I'm sorry from the bottom of my heart, and wish you the best." The writer's reference to their life being taken away is extremely self-centered.
Who gives a fuck about your
considering their
life?
punishment
Hey,
is the
I'm
result
sorry
of
I
them
took your
choosing to end
daughter's
another
life.
person's life. Although they
Love,
may in fact
and they
feel guilty,
and they
the
send
penman is
hearts.
most likely seeking sympathy for themselves,
Bro, they
rather
sent
than
two
truly
hearts.
understanding the ramifications of
You
their actions.
stopped her
It has
heart,
not been
bro.
reported as to who the letter is from,
You
nor if
stopped
Tracy
her
ever
heart.
responded. Although Carl, James, and Robbie had already been arrested not too long after Sydney's body was found, it would be another 2 years on the same day as Dakota that Chad would also be taken in. Chad was brought in for questioning, but quickly requested his attorney,
Chad,
ending the
that's not a
conversation
Chad
before it
body,
could even
bro.
begin.
No, that's not a Chad
Although,
body.
thankfully, he would not be getting
That's a
off
fat fox
scot-free.
body.
Carl, one of the P-Town Saints' most loyal members, pleaded guilty to first-degree murder and was sentenced to 60 years in prison. But before he could be transferred to a federal prison, he was found deceased in his jail cell, a successful attempt at taking his own life. James was convicted of first-degree murder and sentenced to 60 years in prison, while Robbie was convicted of home invasion and sentenced to 26 years in prison. Chad, the notorious gang leader, was sentenced to 20 years in prison for home invasion, the result of a plea agreement that dropped the charge of first-degree murder.
Are you kidding me?
And finally, Dakota, who some would say was the actual mastermind behind her sister's murder, pleaded guilty to home invasion as part of a plea agreement. As a result, prosecutors dropped murder, kidnapping, and burglary charges.
Bro, are you kidding me?
She was sentenced to 26 years,
but
could be released from prison as early as 2023.
Bro, dude, the 60 years. I feel like they must have found like some rape stuff. Because otherwise 60 years. Bro, that's the maximum we've seen. People get 20 to life with possibility or no possibility of parole, right? 60 years. Or maybe this happened in a different jurisdiction. We've never seen one with 60 years. So that's a little weird. Right? Like, bro, we saw one of a guy who killed 3 people. 1 child and 2 adults. He killed 3 people. He got 25 years. How do these people get 60? Why doesn't that guy get 60? Do you guys remember that case? Bro, it's weird. It's weird how every state has like their own fucking murder laws.